So hello and welcome back to another exciting episode of Slot It In There, that weekly now tech show that's just brilliant. People keep coming back for more and more, I'm sure, because we're on to our fourth episode, which is amazing. And as a special treat, and because there's illness in my house, I'm doing it from my kitchen. Woo! So if I sound a bit weird, that's going to be more and exciting, isn't it? And just add to the ambience. But hopefully, we're going to cook up something brilliant in my kitchen tonight. Some brilliant tech that will go mwah, mwah, lovely. Just want to devour it all. But as always, and especially when making a delicious tech meal like we'll do tonight, I'm going to need a couple of assistants, probably a soup chef and someone to chop all the vegetables because I'm rubbish at that as well. So to help me, as always, it's Damien and Tim.
Hello.
Woo! So,
Yeah.
gentlemen, we're excited. Episode 4. Hopefully, people are
Absolutely.
watching.
I feel like a spicy meatball.
Spicy meatball.
I think I look like one.
I think I'm more dumpling.
Oh, thanks, mate.
That's nice, isn't it? So
Appreciate
I
it.
like dumplings.
Love you too.
It means you're fluffy for cuddles.
Oh, brilliant. Good. So, I don't really know what to say. Is there anything? We're just excited to do another episode, aren't we? It's going to be full, as usual, of all the tech goodness. We say tech goodness that we've been doing. And retro gaming, of course, from my end. But yeah,
We'd love a good retro.
would love a good retro. Yeah, so let's dive straight into it. In this week's episode, we have a discussion.
And you sticking with it? You sticking with that one?
Well,
You like
there's-
it?
And Tim slots it in there. And let's look at some news this week then. Yeah, dive straight in. Let's do some news this week then. So, who would like to share something that they've been doing, tech related or gaming related, this week? Looks like it's Damien.
Well, this week I have mostly been playing Phasmophobia,
Ooh.
which is a very nice game. It started life as a single developer and was one of the best games of its type, because I believe it was the only one of its type, which was a case of you were, in essence, sort of a Ghostbuster, where you had to go into a property using specific tools, EMF reader, parabolic microphone, talkie box, spirit box, should I say, and basically try and find out where the ghost was, locate it, and then work out what type of ghost it is, and then escape without it murderizing you. And it is good. It's very good. And you can also play it in VR, which made me feel very, very, very sick.
I can imagine.
You did, I remember.
I mean,
Mind you were using a CV1 headset, which is a little older now, and the screen door effect is not great on that.
All I will say is Rift sickness is an actual thing. I was poorly.
Fair enough. From what I've seen of it, it's a game I wouldn't play because it's quite scary. And,
I don't think it is your type, because
No.
if there were bits where a little bit of brown may have fallen out whilst I was playing it, but it's immersive. It's good.
It's good, isn't it? And
crazy good.
doesn't it monitor your microphone in the game? So if you say the person's name or the spirit's name, it comes after you quicker to get you. So
Yeah,
it's like,
you can antagonize it by saying its name and asking it to
Yeah.
show itself or give you a sign. You can ask its age, which it keeps referring to Tim, going old. But it's
I'm not
really
that
good.
old, and I'm not even the oldest one of us that plays it.
It just knows you better. It's the grey that gives it away.
Salt and pepper look that I've got going on. It's fine.
Go on, Tim. What have you been up to this week?
So this week I have been mostly playing. Well, I it wasn't so much that I've mostly been playing it, but it was a not quite a childhood game, but like a game of my early 20s, which is Hydro Thunder on the Dreamcast. Now, just because I know we'll be showing a clip of it, and I don't want Sony coming after me, I do own Hydro Thunder on the Dreamcast, and I have a Dreamcast. However, I did play it using an emulator. The thing that I was kind of surprised, the emulator that I used was Redream, and I wasn't expecting it to, but for those of us that have now a useless Stadia controller, it quite happily recognized the Stadia controller after you unlock the Bluetooth functionality. You can do that on the Stadia, well, what remains of the Stadia website. And it picked that up. So I was able to play a bit of Hydro Thunder reminiscing 20 odd years back and just speedboat racing through the various canals and rivers of the world. It's one of those games that has a bit of auto catch up on it as well. So more often than not, when you're playing with friends, you almost always have a photo finish going across the line. Like you're almost side by side. There's usually one person that's taken the direct route straight to the finish line and somebody that's in a ramp flying over, and you're just both screaming as you get to the line. It's a pretty intense game for one that's, it's seen the test of time, it's safe to say.
That sounds good, though. I never really had a Dreamcast. It passed me by, the Dreamcast, so it's one of them I'd like to go back to, but they're far too expensive. So I think there's a few compilations.
I can loan you mine. It's a bit old and it's showing some signs of wear and tear, but that's something I was thinking about for an upcoming video. Maybe doing having a little look at one of the controllers and maybe seeing if I can't restore that back to factory perfect. But we'll see. We'll see.
Nice, yeah, that'll be good. That'll be good. Brilliant. That sounds good. Both good games. I, of course, have been playing a retro game because that's all I seem to do, just because they're short and time. And I still haven't finished it, but I've been playing Sonic 2 on the Master System. Now, let me tell you, this game, right, is good to play, and I wanted to play it because it's not like Sonic 2 on the Mega Drive because it came out a year before Sonic 2, so it's a totally different game. So it's worth going back to. This game's rock hard. It's got some really good mechanics in it. Like you can glide on a glider, and you can on the water level you can bounce across the top of the water, which I thought these are really good mechanics for a Master System game because I don't remember half of them from the Mega Drive one. But it's rock hard. It's ridiculously hard. It's not NES hard because it's on the Master System, but it's pretty close. Someone should have told them. And especially the first Sonic on a Master System I played earlier in the year and completed that. I thought, oh, that's nice, easy, so I'll try the second one. But I can't. It's rock hard. But it's very enjoyable, and I would highly recommend if you just had the Mega Drive Sonics, you do have to go back or try and find a way to play the Master System ones because they're different and they're a totally different beast. It's more Sonic. So yeah. So that's what I've been playing.
Ooh.
I'll tell you, actually, you reminded me of one of the weirdest little bits of technology that I've still got lying around my house. And bear in mind that I don't own a Game Gear any longer. I've no idea whatever happened to my Game Gear, but for some reason, I do have a Master Gear adapter, which allows you to play Master System games on the Game Gear. And I think that I still have a Master System game in it. I have a feeling it's Transbot, which actually sounds a little bit different in the modern era than it did probably back when the game was released. But yeah, it's a really
Good
odd
game,
little
though.
bit of tech that I've got lying around.
Yeah, because I had it on the Game Gear as well. The Game Gear was heavy anyway, a heavy beast. But when you put the Master System adapter on it and then slotted a game
So
in it,
battery
it was
hungry.
like top heavy.
I always remember, having long car journeys with a mate of mine who had a Game Boy, and I've got my 6 batteries in my Game Gear, and about an hour down the line, I'm like, yeah, that's dead. And he's like, yeah, that's interesting.
That's pretty much the way it was, wasn't it? But it was good. Just needs better battery life. Hey ho.
So what I was really interested to find out is, what do you guys think is the best video game to on screen, i.e. movies or TV shows, that's been converted from a game to a movie TV show? That was terrible, but go for it.
It's good. We get what you're on about. It's fine.
There's quite a few to pick.
I was going to say, I've got a little bit of a list in front of me, so I've got some that I can point out from history. And obviously, you got things like Super Mario Brothers, like the original Super Mario Brothers, and then recently we've had a new one.
To be honest with you, the new one entertained me all the way through, right from beginning to end.
I'm sorry to say, I still haven't seen it.
It's great.
Get out.
In jokes. I know.
I will give it a viewing at some point in the not too distant future. I swear, honest.
Yeah. They put a lot of thought into it, haven't they? Because there's just little things like even Luigi's ringtone is the GameCube startup music. Just little things like that. If you're a Nintendo and fan, it's really good.
Nuances everywhere with it. It's
yeah.
Brilliant, absolutely brilliant.
Okay.
The ones I can tell you a few that I really don't think ever should have been done at all at any point. The original Mortal Kombat.
That's a quality film.
Have you even watched it, Chris?
Do you know, recently? Yes, because I got it. I think I got it for my birthday this year because I'm like, I want that film back. I want all these sort of films from games. And do you know what? it wasn't too bad until you get to the final battle, and it shows its aged then that it's 90s because it's like hardcore rave music, and then it's like this just doesn't work now.
Yeah.
But you can that totally dates it. I mean, it's obviously graphics and all that as well, but it's sort of you could go through it and go, it's a bit cheesy, it's fine, but then but
And then Annihilation that followed it.
That's it.
Why? Why did they put us through that one? I just don't know. It blows my mind. Far Cry.
Yeah,
Wow,
Far Cry.
that was an amazingly bad film. It
That was
was
alright.
absolutely.
2008.
Am
I
I
think it was that
watching
one,
something different to you lot?
To be fair, I was like, it was all. I didn't say it was great. I was like, it was all right. It was
No.
enjoyable.
But
Next,
yeah,
you're gonna hit on Assassin's Creed next, aren't you? And say that was awful as well.
I didn't think that was too bad.
No, that was
but-
all right. Assassin's Creed,
But I think it could have been better,
it could have been better.
but it wasn't
What-
bad. I watched it in one sitting.
What about Hitman? 'Cause we had the Timothy Oliphant one, and there was the Agent 47. I can't remember the actor in that off the top of my head. You watch
They
either of
weren't-
those?
They weren't bad, but
They weren't bad.
they were as an action. If you stripped everything out and took it just on the face value of an action film, they were all right. They were good.
Yeah.
If you base it on the Agent and go through it, there was some good sequence bits that were from the game in there, but I don't think it quite hit perfectly for me. I think there's other better quality type of films out there of that type that would perhaps beat it. So
Yeah, absolutely.
Well, that was Tim's question, wasn't it? So let's think of
Well,
we can have three, one each if we really want, but just what are some good
Well,
ones
well,
that people can recommend their time on?
I was going to say, before we end that one, I've got one movie of note, which I think is still worth mentioning. So the movie of note that I quite like, despite the fact that it's not based on a game, but I think it's heavily geared towards gamers, is Hardcore Henry. I don't know if either of you have watched that. That's
Brilliant.
really good.
Brilliant idea.
All shot
was-
first person, and
would
you
go for
kind of know it's aimed at gamers all the way through, and it's just cemented at the end when he does what he does on the wall. I'm not going to spoil it just for anybody else.
It is worth a watch. It is worth a watch. It's
Oh yeah,
all first person, all direct
Su-
action. It's
super
brilliant.
cheesy,
Well
but
done.
it's having such fun with it, and you can tell they must have had a blast making that.
So come on, then we've looked at the worst. What's some good stuff then?
The latest Mortal Kombat movie, although it does have some hang-ups for me.
Well, I will say it is better than the '90s one, even though the '90s one is good, like I said. But yeah, no,
It really isn't.
it's quite
Just
good. I enjoyed
Well,
the new one as well. Yeah. So.
There's some upcoming ones. What's the game with Norman Reedus? Something or other.
Stranding. Death Stranding.
Death Stranding. That's it. Death Stranding. So apparently they are working on a death, or at least to be announced that they're working on a Death Stranding movie. I'm assuming that Norman Reedus is going to play the lead role in that. It would make sense. That could be interesting. Could be like a Muppet falling down the stairs. Don't know. I guess we'll wait. What else we got?
I'm not convinced. To be honest with you, I've got the game, and I've had 5 minutes worth of gameplay of it. And this is
to be
gonna
fair, I'm about
so controversial because there's a lot of love for that game, but it isn't for me. It's a UPS guy that is basically babysitting on a tour of a planet to deliver his packages. Is basically what I got off the game. And although it is visually very good, it just held nothing for me at all. And after about 5, maybe 10 minutes, it was like, yeah, I'm done with this. And it went off.
I have to admit, I suspect that it's a game that I would enjoy if I just invested a bit more time in it, but I haven't quite got round to that yet. But I'll watch this space. Maybe I'll do a video on it at some point if I do get into it. And we've also got another very recent one. We've got Twisted Metal just came out, didn't it?
That I really enjoyed. That whole TV series. 10 episodes of just pure joy. It was brilliant.
I'm only a
Some of the
couple of
one-liners.
episodes in, so no spoilers. But yeah,
I've
I'm
not
kind
really
of looking forward
played
to
the
it.
game, and from what I've heard is how could you really adapt it into a TV series? Because I don't, from the small part of the game I played, the original PlayStation one, then there's not really a lot of plot to make it a TV series.
Correct. The TV series, there's not a lot of plot. There doesn't need to be because of with what I'm not doing spoilers, but
No.
you need to watch it. It's one of those that will give you several hours worth of cheap giggles, some rather big belly laughs, and it's not really an emotional roller coaster. But there are moments in there that you just think, don't know how you got away with this. I don't know how you could put this on air. It's you've got to watch it. I'll be honest with
Right.
you. If you've got a sense of humor, definitely watch it. There is a plot in there somewhere, but yeah.
Yeah.
I was going to say I don't recall the game having much in the way of a plot
That's
exactly,
what I mean. I
so
was
it's
like,
kind of
how's this
interesting to
TV series?
extrapolate one from it, but it kind of works from it. Like the little bit that I've seen so far, I think it kind of works. I know it hasn't been scoring very well on IMDb, but I'm still quietly optimistic that it was just one of those sort of diamonds in the rough.
Yeah, it is.
Shall we just throw it out there? Obviously, with no spoilers, but what about Last of Us TV series then? Did we
Brilliant.
actually enjoy it?
Really enjoyed it.
Brilliant.
So, yeah.
There were a
Really
few
well done.
bits that didn't fully follow the game storyline, but that's the purpose, I suppose. Is don't reproduce what's already there. They're just kind of like gliding.
Pardon
Put that
you.
in. You feel better for that.
Yeah, well, I think I need to change gear. There's always some idiot out there on a motorcycle. Sorry, carry on.
Yes, motorcycle.
Aye.
But yeah, so if you obviously wanted to watch a movie adaptation of, or should I say, a Cineplay version of the game, you're sort of going to get it. It's got little additional threads going through there. Some of the characters are slightly misplaced, in my opinion, for the timeline, but I enjoyed it. I thoroughly enjoyed it. There are some very dark places in watching it. Very dark.
Oh, yes.
But
Well, yeah.
Definitely watch it.
Well, yeah. Well, you can. I only actually ever got 2 hours into the original game because it then got scary, and I'm rubbish at scary games, which is fine. Even when you have it on, what's the simplest mode? Story mode, so you can enjoy the story. I'm still getting got. It's terrible. But anyway, but having known that part of the game, like say watching into the first episode, you're like, yes, this is doing it. And I love the way they did it, shot for shot in certain parts, the actual game scene.
Yeah.
So that was really good. Obviously, there were slight differences that some people liked, some didn't. But since I haven't actually played the game all the way through, I did really enjoy it myself personally. So yeah, so it's a good one. That's worth a watch. You haven't do it.
Can I
What
can I
films have you got?
mention?
Oh,
I was going to say, can I mention one of the others?
go on then. Yeah, by all means.
Halo.
I've not finished Halo yet. That's. I feel it's one of them that wasn't grabbing me, and I'd like to go back to, but I've not actually finished that series yet, which sort of in my mind is a bit telling. Because I usually
For me, it was a bit 5 out of 10. I would say it's that middle
Yeah.
of the road where it's not quite too bad to stop watching, but it's not quite good enough to really grab me.
Yeah, it hasn't pulled me back yet. I do want to go back and obviously see the conclusion of what's happening. I think I've got, is it? I think I've watched 8 out of 10 episodes, is it, or maybe 6 out of 8? I can't remember. There is, and there was some good bits in it, but like I say, I'll go with Tim's analysis. About 5 out of 10. It's worth a watch, but it's there's better things.
Yes.
Yes, we're all yes. We won't
We'll just,
recommend
we'll
that.
We're all in agreement.
just rule that one there.
Yeah.
Last of Us up here.
Yeah.
Halo.
Mm.
Oh, I've dropped it. 1 minute. No, it can stay there. As far as if you just took the story and the lore away and just took it on the face value of literally just it being a sci-fi program, I'd probably go about 7 or 8.
Yeah.
But because it's the Master Chief and it's a particular favorite, especially with all the fans, I think a lot of those kicked off considering the concepts and how they did it. and every 5 seconds the Master Chief's like, "Oh, look at me." I think they've kind of ruined certain aspects of it. So I'm sub 5. I'm below 5 out of 10 for that. But
It's like the whole Judge Dredd thing, isn't it? And Stallone in a movie straight away. Don't take your helmet off, for goodness sakes. He never takes his helmet off.
the remake I thought was better, to be fair.
The remake Dredd is absolutely spot on, amazing. There you go. So there, well, that's from a comic book, isn't it? But that's a class film to watch. We're digressing, but yeah,
They did make a game.
they did make a game, and some of the games were really good. Yeah, so yeah, I'd recommend that. But right, so my thing as recommendations then, because I'm thinking I'm going to pick a series just to be really awkward. And we'll
Dun,
try
dun, dun.
I'm going to go to Resident Evil film series, and the reason why,
Hmm.
as a series, or I could pick one film. I'll go with the first film if you want, because the first film
Oh,
actually stays.
sorry, the Resident Evil series of films, not
Oh yeah,
the
series of films,
TV
not
series.
the series. Let's clear this. Not the
With you.
Netflix series. Good God, no. The series of films. Um, the first film's really good in some sense, in the sense of it sticks quite well to the plot a bit or aspects of it. Not enough mansion really, but the rest of it's quite good. But then I actually really enjoy the Resident Evil ones because they do sort of ebb and flow. I think they're a bit like Star Trek films in one sense. So if you have a good one or a fairly good one, then a pretty naff one, then a fairly good one, then a pretty naff. A bit like your original Star Treks, like 2, 4, and 6. That everyone says good, and like 1, 3, and 5. That sort of feel. And Damien's like, no, how can you dare
It's
say
like versions of
Res-
Windows. It's like every other one's rubbish.
every other one's sort of okay. Well, let's face it, if we just analyze the Resident Evil films without spoilers, the first one, like I say, is pretty good, sticks to it. The second one is very cheesy and very, and it could have been really good because the Resident Evil 2 game, the original one, is obviously amazing and probably a remake everybody likes, but the original is amazing, isn't it? The whole concept. But yeah, the film, maybe not. But I throw it out there. They're definitely worth a watch. If you want to watch anyone start at the start, the first one's quite good. There's my controversial one.
And you
Clearly,
sticking with it? You sticking with
clearly.
that one?
Well,
You like it?
there's other ones, but I mean, I just thought they're a good one. They're actually everybody
I,
thinks they're rubbish. They're actually quite
I was
enjoyable.
I know that they sort of steadily decline as it goes along, but yeah, the first Resident Evil movie, and well, most of them really, to be fair, they're background noise by the sort of later ones, but
Yeah.
certainly the first few were perfectly watchable and good for a giggle. Popcorn movies, really.
Yeah, and the good thing is he tried different filming techniques in each one, so
Mm.
that was usually the selling point. So there is actually, for the time, some really good shots in there in the terrible acting and terrible scenes of zombies and stuff. So
Yeah.
worth watching for that as well. So, but there you go. Come on, then, Damien. What's your ultimate film that we can suggest or
I
TV
think.
series?
Oh, I think I'm gonna actually stick with the newer Mortal Kombat movie. I'm actually gonna stick with that one. I think that's probably my favorite adaptation.
It is pretty good. I did really enjoy it. I mean, I'm not too much on the lore of Mortal Kombat, the actual characters, and like they're on about in a minute, isn't it? They're going back to Mortal Kombat 1 in the game series and
Yeah.
rewrite everybody's. So there's a lot of talk of that sort of currently, but yeah, I don't really understand between Sub Zero and Scorpion. Was that accurate in the film without giving too much away? Was that?
From the bits I understand, yes.
Oh, that's right.
There's a couple of good animated series that accompany the Scorpion story and
Yeah.
the fight between them and the Lin Kuei, which is like the blue ninja.
Yeah.
And it's well depicted, the natural hatred, the sparring of each other and everything. It's brilliant. There's other bits and pieces that are in that movie that just don't quite physically sit really well with me, but I look over it because overall the film is stunning to watch and choreographed absolutely amazing, and the effects,
Yeah.
they're brilliant.
I mean, it's definitely a good 8 out of 10, isn't it? Not the 9 out of 10 like the original one from the 90s, but it's a good 8 out of 10. Definitely
Yeah.
go with it there.
Yeah, it rates high. It rates high
Rates
on the
high.
watchability.
Worth a watch. And Tim, what's your suggestion then?
Oh, I'm going to go with Doom for a bit of a giggle. The Doom movie. Do you remember it?
I remember. I've only actually sadly watched the
With
first half an hour of it, but with Dwayne, The Rock,
Dwayne.
With Rock the Dwayne Johnson, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, there were a few fairly notable actors in it, but probably more interestingly than that, I think, if I remember rightly, it was directed by Dexter Fletcher, who took over from Dominic Diamond presenting Games Master.
Yeah.
If you remember that.
Yeah.
A long time ago. But yeah, that was a nice little reference. And he's gone on to do quite well for himself. He's directing all sorts of stuff at the moment.
I must admit that one of the favourite parts for me in that whole movie was the first person's perspective segment.
Yeah.
That was brilliant to watch. Absolutely brilliant to watch. The rest of the film in places a bit, but
yeah, it wasn't great, not by any manner of means. But I still have a little bit of a soft spot for it because again, it was one of those films that just looked like it must have been so much fun to make.
Jolly good, jolly good. So in conclusion, I think we concluded picking what are the good movies and the best TV series you watch. We've all pretty much picked ones going, well, they're all right. You know, you like them. Can't really go, that is awesome.
I was going to say there's probably a lot more bad ones than there are good ones for that sort of thing.
Yeah. But
we could have mentioned Street Fighter.
Yeah, we didn't mention Street Fighter. We didn't mention.
There's a good reason for that.
Tomb Raider. We didn't mention House of the Dead or Dead or Alive.
Again, really good reasons why some of those weren't mentioned.
We left them. But let's end it quickly before he adds more in.
Oh yeah, I can keep going. So this week I was curious to see what it would be like in 2023 if I didn't have a graphics card. I seem to be inundated with the things. I've got a couple on the shelf behind me there. I've got various other ones scattered around the place. And I wondered, can you actually game like that? Can you do without a graphics card? And I think, because I did all my tests at 1080p, I tinkered with the settings, but I think people will be surprised at what you can get away with just a CPU. Let's have a look. Hello, and welcome, won't you? We live in an expensive age for gaming on PC. The price of graphics cards has come down a considerable amount in recent times, but the top tier cards are certainly a luxury too far for many of us. And I've been wondering, considering I spent much of my life buying, building, overclocking, upgrading computers, graphics cards, you name it. I wondered if it's actually all been a big waste of my time and expense. So I've asked myself the question. If I did away with a dedicated graphics card, is there still fun to be had in gaming in 2023 with just a CPU to drive those games? Let's find out. So I raided a computer, which in this instance had a dedicated graphics card in it. So we'll just take that out of there for now. We're just going to pop it somewhere safe, out of the way, because let's face it, we're probably going to need it later. Returning to the computer, I suddenly remembered a couple of quite important things. Firstly, the CPU in this machine is an i9 and is perhaps not representative of budget gaming. And secondly, the CPU is a KF variant, which is very important here. The i9 9900KF is missing a crucial component. In this case, an iGPU. When we look at the end of the name of the 9900KF, we see those two letters K and F. The K denotes that it's an overclockable chip. The F means that it doesn't have an iGPU. Now, iGPU stands for Integrated Graphical Processor Unit. And in this case, if you happen to have one of those chips and you don't have a graphics card, then you're in for a bad time. If you turn on a computer like that, you're just going to get a black screen. So unfortunately, in this case, I can't use this computer to run these tests. So I had to go in search of another machine, and I found one. Are you ready to meet our contender? Here it is. Oh, that's it. But bear in mind, sizes and everything.
5 inches, but it's thick.
I'm not overcompensating, you're overcompensating. The beating heart of this gaming powerhouse is the Ryzen 5 3550H, which is 4-core, 8-thread. And I don't need to tell you that it doesn't have a GPU in it, because that's the smallest GPU I own. It even looks small compared to my mouse. AMD, much like Intel, have those little letters at the end of the name of their CPUs. In this case, we've got an H, and an H means that it is a high-performance mobile CPU. Now, high performance, good. Mobile means it's the kind of chip we'd expect to find in a laptop. Now, that's not necessarily a bad thing, but they typically are a little bit more underpowered. In the case of this particular chip, it draws about 35 watts under full load. For comparison, the i9-9900KF we were talking about earlier draws about 95 watts, so this thing just sips power. It has a boost clock of 3.7 GHz, and more importantly than that, it has an iGPU, in this case Radeon Vega 8 graphics. It has 8 cores running at 1200 MHz. But these are just numbers, and numbers are maths, and maths is work, and work is boring. We want to play. So what does this mean for gaming? It's now time to put this Goliath to the test. But let's start slow with a game that any computer should be able to play. FTL, which stands for Faster Than Light. A quick note before we get started, I'm opting to use a capture card to record my on-screen activities. I could use OBS to record the footage directly on this colossus of a computer, but this can be GPU, or in this case iGPU, intensive, and we want to crush every frame per second out of this behemoth. I'll also be using MSI Afterburner to show some of the stats on the screen in the top left. Your objective is to make it from one side of the map to the other to deliver critical information on the enemy boss, which you will ultimately take on yourself. As you make your way from jump point to jump point, you'll encounter an array of alien ships, pick up little side quests, new crew members, and come across stores where you can upgrade your ship. But don't be fooled by the simple looking graphics. The gameplay is quite the opposite. Your role is that of a ship commander. You will need your wits about you while you manage your crew, weapons, shields, engines and subsystems. You'll have to make hard choices as the game progresses, and it is not likely that everyone will make it out alive. If they even make it that far. Now let's take a look at how my gargantuan computer holds up. Although the temps have increased a little from idle, we can see that this game presents no problem at all. With the frame rate limiter off, the FPS we're getting far exceeds the refresh rate of the monitor. The CPU, which includes the iGPU, we can see is only drawing about 10 watts, which leaves a good 25 watts left on the table, so we can push this CPU and iGPU a bit further. So let's go 3D. Next up we have Golf Around. Now this is one of those games that's easy to learn but hard to master. What I love about this game is all the community made content. There are so many courses to try and fail at. My colleague Damien is one of those creators, who delights in ruining my day with his frustration courses. I'm not bitter. You can see we've taken a significant hit on the frame rates here. If we don't mind losing a little of the picturesque beauty of this game, we can reclaim some of those precious frames. Somewhat unsurprisingly, the GPU and CPU temperatures have increased. We've got about 40% utilization, and we're still sipping away at about 10 watts, which is great. The frame rate, however, we can see is sitting around 50-ish frames a second, which is a stark contrast to FTL, where we were getting in excess of 300. The refresh rate of the monitor is 60 Hz, so we're within spitting distance of that. No. Don't you dare. Why? Now, the gold standard for gaming is about 60 frames a second. I mean, any less than that, and you're not really going to get the full experience. And I think maybe it's something to do with the Unity engine that we're really struggling a little bit to get over 50 frames, but it's still quite playable. Ha! In your face, Damien. Next up, let's take a look at one of my personal favourites, Portal. This is made by Valve and uses the Source engine.
Please place the weighted storage cube on the 1500 megawatt Aperture Science Heavy Duty Super Colliding Super Button.
Now, I don't know whether it's my hulking computer or just how well optimized Valve's Source engine is, but even on high settings I'm knocking out a solid 60 frames a second here, which is, as we said before, the gold standard. Impressively, the CPU is only hitting about 58 degrees C, and only about 4 watts. That's crazy.
Perfect. Please move quickly to the chamber lock, as the effects of prolonged exposure to the button are not part of this test.
The game appears to be limited to 60 frames a second, so it's possible there are some frames left on the table, but as far as I can tell, there's no way of upping the frames per second in this game. The gameplay doesn't feel entirely smooth, but if I hadn't been spoiled by some very capable graphics cards in my time, I'd probably be quite happy playing it like this. It's important to note that older games are your friend if you want a game without a graphics card. Portal was released in 2007, and as hardware has improved, while the game has stayed basically the same, you need less and less expensive hardware to achieve the same results.
You're doing very well.
Our success with Portal got me thinking about Portal 2, which is more modern, has slightly better graphics and no frame rate limiter, so I was curious to see how we'd fare with this one. The CPU temperature was back up again, at around 37% utilization, and we're back up to about 10 watts, but the frames per second is hanging around 90, which is actually pretty impressive for this little thing. I mean, gargantuan, huge, the word that I haven't used before, monumental computer. I was so impressed with the performance here that I had to double check the settings to make sure I'd turned everything up. And yep, everything's on high. It has to be said, I'm really starting to enjoy gaming on this immense machine.
So there's nothing to stop us from testing for the rest of your life.
Now let's take a look at an esport. Here we have Rocket League. In order to be competitive in this game, you would want at least 60 frames a second, and unfortunately so far we're not seeing that. At the moment we're hovering around 30 to 40 frames a second. So I'm just going to tweak the settings a little and see if we can't get back a few more frames. After this adjustment, we can see that the game is running much smoother than it was before. However, it does look a bit fuzzier. But critically, we are now above the 60 frames a second, which is the refresh rate of the monitor. I was beginning to think that nothing would be able to stop this jumbo computer, so I figured why not throw something a bit more complex at it. So here we are in GTA 5, and I figured racing would be a good way of testing. I was immediately met with the standard GTA 5 experience. Just look at this guy jumping all over the map and cheating his way to the win. Now I've had to tweak the settings a little bit, but it's actually running remarkably well. I honestly hadn't expected the game to run at all, let alone getting between 40 and 50 frames a second. Yeah, we're not quite meeting the 60 frames a second for the gold standard, but this is still quite playable. Finally, let's take a look at Forza Horizon 5, a game released in 2021. Now, I genuinely thought that I'd defeated this Olympian of a computer because Forza Horizon 5 is a lot more demanding. I allowed the game to benchmark my computer so that it could choose the best settings. This, however, turned out to be a bad idea. Ultimately, when the benchmark had finished, we ended up with about 17 frames a second. Now bear in mind we need at least 24 frames a second for the human eye to be convinced that there's movement. 17 frames a second is basically just a quick slideshow. So off to the settings I went and knocked it down from high to medium. The game then requested a restart, and I obliged. However, the game did not restart and wouldn't load at all. So I gave the computer a restart and a fresh mug of tea. I returned to the game to discover that things had barely improved, and now we were hovering around 20 frames a second and still not even managing the 24 frames a second we need for smooth movement. So I went back to the setting to make some more changes. The game wanted another restart. Again, the game would not load, and I had to do another system restart. And we finally got the game to a playable state. Now, it's not 60 frames a second, but is it playable? I mean, what do you think?
This is Scotty Tyler broadcasting to you live from a plane. This time we are throwing everything we have got at this superstar. Let's get it. Pilot, there's a temple on the runway. Temple on the runway.
Now, I suppose I ought to draw some conclusions from all of this. And at the moment, the only conclusion that I'm drawing is my life is a lie. All of the work I've done on computers, for nothing, apparently. That tiny little computer has proven itself to be incredibly capable. I've been constantly impressed by the fact that it can actually run AAA titles, even in this day and age. So, maybe it's time to say goodbye to the graphics cards. But then again, I like the pretty graphics. Well, okay, my conclusion is this. I'm going to go back to sulking under my hood. See you later.
Well, that was rather interesting to find out that we're all been spending stupid amount of money on something that maybe we might not really have needed.
Yeah, I mean, you consider like the price of a graphics card. And I mean, the computer that I was running the tests on, I think, cost me a little over £200. That was it. And for a decent graphics card, you're paying well in excess of that. So it's astonishing what you can get away with. I really didn't think you'd be able to game at all on this thing. I mean, yeah, some 8-bit stuff, sure, but like things like Forza, what?
I was really surprised with it because obviously I'm trying to get into gaming and I don't have graphics cards or anything, but actually I've got the built-in processors, like you say, on some of the Ryzen ones. But yeah, because I'm a console gamer still. I don't like to change half the settings. But like I say, actually, if you just mess around with some of the settings, you can play some quite up-to-date games, can't you? Like say the Forza Horizon or that lot. You just got to tweak with it and sort of know what you're doing there, and you can get good bang for your buck then, like you say, something fair cheap, isn't it? You don't have to buy a really expensive graphics card. So it was very interesting. Very good. Good video. So it's come to that part of the show where we try and help a viewer with one of their problems, and we solve it in the only way we know how, of course, which is by gaming. And this week we've obviously got another problem, another email being sent in by one of our lovely viewers, and we'll see if we can solve it. We'll find out in a minute who's going to take on the challenge to solve it. But first of all, I'll read the lovely problem, and we'll see what we can do about it. So you're slotted in there, guys. I've been working in schools all my life, but recently I've started feeling a change is needed. I started my working life as a caretaker at school many years ago, looking after the grounds, which I enjoyed a lot but never felt it was my true calling. But then, after a fire in the school basement which destroyed a large part of a building, I helped rebuild the school for the community by becoming a teacher, educating the disruptive youth who went to the school on their bad ways and killing off the evil in them to make the area better for the local community. I spent many years doing this and changing the dreams of my students, and I feel for the better using my specific points. However, nowadays I feel I've become less relevant and the students are not as willing to accept my teaching methods and quite frankly don't seem to care as much as they used to if I'm part of their dreams or not. So I was wondering if you could help me decide. Do I give up on teaching for good and retire to enjoy my hobby of hedge cutting, or do I try and shape the dreams of children at a younger age and start teaching primary school children? Your fan, F. Kruger. So that's the problem we got this week to try and sort out. Basically, should they carry on, trying to teach younger people, or should they give up and just retire and do their own sort of hobby? What do you think, first of all, gents, about this? Damien, what's your thoughts on the matter? What should they do?
I think he should kind of stay strong and teach the youth, pass on his wisdom and knowledge and experiences directly to them.
It's a good one. Yeah, Tim, what do you think?
I don't know. I think he has the necessary skills and possibly the necessary appendages to go back to hedge trimming, personally.
So it's a 50-50 split so far. But of course, we aren't going to decide the game, or we're going to decide by playing the game anyway. That's the only way we know how, and the best way, the correct way to decide these problems. And this week, of course, Damien's going to take on the challenge, aren't you, Damien?
Yes.
Isn't he thrilled as always? Now,
If this is Sonic, I'm not playing.
it's not Sonic, and I feel everybody's, everyone thinks we're giving you really hard challenges. I think they're quite easy. So this week, I've come up with a good system, okay, to figure it out. Okay, first of all, I'm going to tell you it's just going to be level 1 of the game, and you just need to play it on normal. And all you need to do is get to the end of a level, okay, with the amount of lives that you start with. And even if you collect extra lives or anything along the way, that's fine. You just need to get to basically survive and complete the first level. I can't say that's nice and easy.
Well, with the same number of lives that you start with, or with the number of lives
you
that
start
you start with being used.
Whatever, obviously, if you use them a long way, that's absolutely fine. That's fine. Yeah.
Okay, cool.
So if you just to clarify, if you start with 3 lives, as long as you're not dead, you used all 3 up by the end. That's fine. You won. You succeeded. Nice and easy. Okay. Brilliant. And just so that I'm not being mean, I'm picking the game. I'm going to make Tim pick a number from 1 to 3, so he picks the game for you. So, Tim, would you like to pick 1, 2, or 3 for Damien?
Pick a good one.
3. Going 3.
He's going 3. Okay.
I'm going 3.
I would say that's probably the worst one, but we'll find out because it's the same game. I've just picked either Streets of Rage 1, 2, or 3, and Tim has decided to pick Streets of Rage 3 for you. So you're doing level 1 of Streets of Rage 3 and getting to the end. How do you feel about that, Damien?
Yes.
Yeah.
Have you played Streets of Rage?
I have done.
So it's been a long time since I have.
It's back when I actually had a Mega Drive, and that's the last time I've touched it.
I mean,
I did play it actually more recently than that, but I played it on an emulator setup.
I personally say 3 is the harder one because I've not played 3 a lot. 1 and 2 I've hammered to death. 2 is amazing. It's probably the best game of all time, nearly 2. But 3. But anyway, how are you feeling then? So Streets of Rage 3, all you have to do is just get to the end of level 1. Just beat people up.
What could be that difficult? How could it be that hard?
Do you know what? I haven't tried to be horrible or think of anything bad. You're just playing the game. So if you can't do it, mate.
Just playing the game.
Just playing the game. So we'll just get that set up and we'll see how we get on. Just the end of the stage, you just got a complete level basically without dying. Locked. You've got 2 lives only to start with. Oh look, he's using specials. Get in there.
Oh, he's a pro.
He's
cheat.
Look at this.
I call hacks.
The thing is, you can't go too far ahead because you still got to beat everyone up. Even if you run ahead, the game stops. So, obvious. They look excited. Susie.
Oh no!
Oh, Dragon Punch.
Oh yeah, you got to watch the special though because it uses a bit of your health. Or it did in the second one. I take it doesn't this one. I've not really paid.
I was going to say, it's had to come down a tiny bit, but I don't know.
Yeah, just go down a little bit.
A hit.
Oh, there you
No!
Ooh,
Come on!
That was the first big hit.
Oh
no!
The violence.
Touch me. Take that, yeah.
Yeah. Poor Susie. She's just having a stroll.
Oh.
Abby. Savage.
Look at that. Oh. Clearly that's to go.
He knows what he's doing.
Look at this. It's nice and easy. This. Oh no,
move on now.
Hello.
No, I didn't know you could do that.
What? Tap, tap forward and punch.
Ooh.
No,
No, no.
Did you break that? That you cheaty boy.
Yeah.
Oh, very nice.
No.
Oh, unlucky.
No.
Let's hope he gets a bit free. If you break those crates, there's probably some energy in them.
Oh, yeah, that's a good point. I hadn't thought of that.
I think, yeah.
Oh.
Oh. I think you should go try and break those boxes. Is there anything? There's an apple.
There's something there. There's something there.
Oh.
No, it's right there.
An apple. That one.
Yeah. Okay, so we're down a life. It's all right though.
I still can't advance the screen, which is really annoying. Oh, there we go.
There you go.
Come
There's
on.
the arrow. It's all good.
Get your punches in.
You got
Oh,
that
he's a
now.
wrong one.
Bat 'em up.
So wing. So wing.
Ooh, try to elbow you.
Yeah.
Vicious.
There's another.
Is he going to jump down and try and elbow you? Look at that.
John Cena.
Take that, I beat.
Oh, I hate that.
Oh,
They do me head in.
he's a bit stabby.
Running at you with knives. It's
Got
terrible.
red on me. No.
Oh,
Oh,
you get locked into that animation for a while, don't you?
yeah.
What's better than a bat or a knife?
He's
Ooh,
got
a
a
gun.
He's got a gun.
Oh, that bat's gone now. Get a knife. Get a knife.
Yeah, take that.
Oh.
Stabbing tool.
He's still got a gun.
Oh, you've got a gun as well.
There's two of them.
Are these Fox Network executives or something?
A bit. Take a bit of it. Yeah. Taste my underside of my shoe.
Tastes like gum.
There you go.
Yes. See that?
Is that it?
No,
No.
Oh,
don't get too excited.
katana. Well, it's not really. Is that katana? Oh, doesn't look like one.
It's a big sword, isn't it? Whichever, however you label it. Ooh.
Oh dear.
He's got a knife.
Oh,
For Dwight.
I want that. Are they the ones that
They're the ones that jump. on you,
roll up
yeah.
in a ball and roll around, are they?
I don't know if they roll about, but they're definitely going to jump on you. Oh my god, there's loads of them. If you put this on hard mode, this can't be normal. Oh, he's about to
Yeah,
pick
just-
his mate up and throw it. Yeah,
yeah.
it's amazing. You can't pick them up. They'll squash you. They're too heavy. Oh, you need
That's
They're
not a lot of health
really
left.
stuck to the gravity.
you need some help. Oh,
Come on, Dwight, where are you?
just keep kicking him. Yeah, beat the pattern. It's all good.
I need something to replenish my health.
You definitely do. Still alive. We're gonna get an arrow. Move on. Right, hit that because there's food. Yeah, eat it.
Yes.
Yeah. Oh, now we've got the motorbikes. Got to
Oh.
throw everything in on this level.
Won't give you much health though.
No, you've got to get chicken for the full health. But I think he must be getting near the end of a level, so he'll probably get a big chicken too if he survives.
I can
Jason
see you
Donovan.
there, just off the screen.
Yeah. There he is.
Jason Donovan, Andy Garcia. Who else we got?
Really?
Oof.
Ooh, I hate the bikes.
Oh, he's stopped for you.
Yeah.
Storm from X-Men. Okay,
Another one coming, and the other one. Oh, look at this. He's a pro at kicking people off bikes.
absolutely.
It's like he's done it before.
I've seen him do it.
Oh, but-
Yes.
at
Enough
this.
sandwiches all
You-
around. Come on.
You showed Jason Donovan.
Come on.
Ooh, look at that.
Bruce Lee.
Ooh.
Getting sunset now, so we're getting near the end of the level.
Oh, nice.
Look at this guy. He's just like bodies in his weight. Look at him. Just throwing
No, you don't do that
Oh.
to me.
Wow, that was quick reactions on his part, wasn't
Just killing Vanilla Ice. It's all good.
it? That must be Giancarlo Esposito.
There goes Vanilla.
I've just broken the ice.
Another bit of ice.
Come on.
Hey.
An icebreaker.
Is that all of them? I know.
No, they keep coming back.
Have it.
Andy Garcia's a bit tough.
Boot him to death. That's what he does. There we go. Got him. Good, good. Oh, right. Let's see if there's any help in it. Right, so it
Check
must be the
it.
boss.
Oh, yes.
This is the end of a level. So,
Aw.
survive the boss rush.
Oh, ooh, nice.
That's what you
Controversial.
needed it. You needed it because you get in.
Oh,
Right.
it's the bald guys. You know, it's trouble when the bald guys turn up.
Bono. YouTube.
Well, it is Bono, and he's wearing the sort of fly goggles.
It's Bono and Jason Donovan. They're doing a duet.
Oh. Oh, well, they would be doing if Axel here wasn't standing in their way.
Guns N' Roses coming along and just kicking them. All the music people. Was it not the end of a level?
Is that it? Is
Oh,
that-
it's still going.
Well, how long does this go on for?
Oh, hello.
There's a little cat keeps poking its head out of the bin in the background then.
Yeah.
Never seen that before. Oh, I remember the Whippy ones.
Yeah.
Mrs. Whippy in this case, isn't it?
Ooh.
Ooh,
Electra.
Carmen Electra.
I'll laugh if a cat jumped out and attacked you. That'd be hilarious. Oh, you've got to wait till they stand.
Oh.
Yeah. Do all that.
Oh, here we go.
Here we go.
Uh-oh. Yeah, this
Oh, look. there's
definitely
a
looks
chicken.
like...
Yeah, that's definitely the
Oh.
boss. Hooray.
He's
Nice.
got multi-layer health bar. Oh, that's...
Ooh.
Ooh.
Have a face full of my fiery fist.
Oh, unlucky. Oh, you might want
Yeah.
to start thinking about that chicken.
Yeah.
Oh.
Got it.
You've still
Got
got
the
still got a
chicken.
life left as well, haven't you?
No.
Get in there.
Come
Go on. Come on.
Right, that's right. Don't play for now. No.
No.
Oh. There you go.
Hey?
No.
It's broken the
Screw you
animation.
again. Oh no.
Oh. Oh, do you have to start
That's
again
right.
if it's...
We're all right though. You can do this.
His health doesn't come all the way back up, does it? No. Okay.
It was full health, yeah. Just,
Well, he was full health, but he had 2 layers of health, didn't he?
oh no, yeah, she was the.
So now he was only 1 layer. That's not too bad.
actually,
Oh,
man.
come on. You're still on top here. Come on.
No!
Oh,
He's taking the lead.
Get him.
Oh,
It's
that's looking
tight.
good.
Oh, it's very tense.
Yeah!
I'm not excited about that at all. I think I nearly brought a pad squeezing it.
Hey, there you go. Nice
Yay!
challenge. Just play level 1. Fine.
Easy. Not a problem.
No problem. Very good then. So well done, Damien. So you won. You beat it. You did the challenge. So how do you feel after that now?
Overjoyed. Absolutely. There is no better feeling than that at all.
And what did you decide then to solve the question? Was it which outcome did we pick now? Was it are they going to have a teaching primary school kids? Was it now? Is that what
Yeah,
what's
he's
the
going to go back
school? Yeah.
to teaching, instructing them.
Got a bit of hedge trimming.
No, it wasn't edge trimming. No. He's
He's
going
got
to change the dreams of the primary school kids now. He's giving up
he's
on the
gonna
secondary
he's gonna be in
That's
their
wrong.
thoughts all the time. He's
all
gonna
the
give
time.
them such a thrill.
Yeah. So there we are. Once again, we have come to the end of an exciting episode. I hope you enjoyed the main meal that I conjured up in this lovely kitchen here with my fellow, technical chefs, cooks, soup chef, veg cutter, whatever. It was lovely. You enjoyed it. You feasted. Yum, 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 yum. We'll stop the analogies now. But hey, hopefully it was good. You enjoyed it. Yeah. So don't forget, as always, to do all those exciting things like, subscribe. Write some comments down below. Tell us what you thought of the video, what you think of us. Be nice, be kind,
Tickle
and we
the
might
bell.
reply. Ring
Tickle
the
the
bell every
bell.
time.
Tickle the bell.
I forget the bell every time. See, this is good, isn't it? Brilliant. So, have you got anything to add, Damien, before we leave?
I'm just so happy with myself right now that I beat the challenge, and our friend is able to go on and provide dreams for years for the kids.
It's such a warm feeling, see, isn't it, when we benefit communities and help people
Absolutely.
out, isn't it? So, Tim, anything to add?
Well, I'm sure those kids will be dreaming sweet dreams, but I still think the hedge cutting was the way to go.
Well, on that blue screen of death, it's pretty much the end of the show. So I'll say bye.
Goodbye.
Laters!